this is Rachel here, the Modern Shaman. Thank you once again for being with me for another YouTube Q&A video of the week. If you're new to my channel, I am glad you're here. I would love for you to visit my website, which is themodernshaman.net. You can schedule and do all of my booking that way to sit with me in a one-on-one session here in my office in San Antonio, Texas, or online. That's also available, as well as my masterclass teaching curriculum for those of you guys who are interested in developing your intuitive sacred gifts, the awareness of nature and elementals, and various healing modalities through shamanic knowledge through our ancient practices. That's all available and online as well through my masterclass portal. The website, once again, is themodernshaman.net. Okay, if you'd like to send in a question for these videos, go to my website, go to the contact form, fill out the information, and just notify me that it is a question for the YouTube channel. I love hearing from you guys. I love hearing your comments and just any sort of feedback. I think it's a blessing to have a two-way communication through these videos. And just to hear how you relate and what hits home to you. Okay, so here's the question today. Hello, Rachel. Thank you once again for your video channel. I am writing today with a bit of a somber heart. A friend's father died just the other day on Father's Day. So there is some spiritually interesting and emotionally poignant stuff at play. And I feel like when people transition, they're looking for others who are listening. Is that true? Why do I feel so strongly that they are trying to connect? And it is so physically hard to ignore when I feel the weight of their presence near me. Sometimes this makes me feel uncomfortable, like it's not my place to share with my friend whose father died. And yet at the same time, the spirit makes it difficult to ignore them. Mediumship transition. Yeah. So let's talk about that. First of all, what an amazing, amazing, beautifully orchestrated date to leave this world as a father on Father's Day. I can't help but think of that phrase of like, there's no greater gift of a father than to give his life for his son, or to give the life of his son, which that's a biblical statement. But this feeling that it was the gift of giving. And death is one of our greatest gifts. If you have ever been through a death of a loved one close with you, someone who you really love, it is an absolute threshold experience. It is a gateway into the divine, into true spirituality, into the sacred place of authenticity and grief. You are so real when you are ripped open like that. You're just flayed open as if your skin is just showing or taken off and all your organs are showing. There is a sense of no superficiality, like what is unimportant does not matter, okay? And if you've been through it, if you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about extreme moments where you are so ripped apart by life that there is nothing inauthentic about you at that moment. The absolute presence of your soul is laid bare, and that is a gift that only death and extreme trauma can bring in our life. And the amount of love with which you shared with that individual comes so floodingly strong into your heart, and how much you love them shows how much grief you have for them and how much you mourn them. And And then at the same time, there's this deep sense of contemplation and grace with all those around you that show their compassion and their mercy. It is just a gut-wrenching and yet supremely orchestrated and divine time. And I know that for myself, when my brother passed, I have never been the same. I will never be the same. And I look back at my time before that, and it feels like I was a child. Like it was the one experience in my life that grew me into such a depth of character. And I was already seemingly serious and to other people. I was already on my path. I was already very devoted. I mean, even as a child, I was like reading the Bible from cover to cover. I was always very sincere about my faith, but that death threshold experience, it just completely changed the depth at which I was available to life and able to be myself. Or maybe I hadn't, I don't know. It absolutely changed me in a way that brought a new level of reality. And that reality was incredibly sacred, a deeper understanding of the living of the truth of spirituality. Not a mental knowledge, but a visceral, real, tangible. And again, I had already had experiences like this. I had had mystical, tangible experiences, but this is a whole nother level. And those of you guys that have been through it will know. So my first point that I want to share with you is that that is a beautiful gift that his Father has given him. Never taint that to be something negative or like, oh, I can't believe they passed on my birthday or they passed on holiday. This is the gift that if you are open and wise enough to receive it, you can fully receive more than you've ever received in terms of learning and growth in your soul. So I hope that he is open to that ultimate gift of his Father giving his life. That just to me is extremely, extremely sacred and should be viewed that way. Another thing I want to touch on is your question about feeling his Father's spirit near to you. This is true. And you ask, is this true? I think that most people's first experience of mediumship is realizing that they still have communication and that the soul of their loved one is in fact eternal, that it didn't die, that the soul is still trying to talk and they're still hearing it in their head. And it's not echoes of just the past things they've said. We may remember that, but oftentimes it's the same mannerism that they're talking to us in. We hear the same tone. In our internal clairaudience, we can hear them very clearly and astutely as if they're giving a response to our daily life or the person we're dating or the decisions we're making. And this is our first understanding of the eternal nature of spirits. This is true mediumship. So this absolutely happens, and I would say to be open to it. When dogma and religiosity tries to quelch something that is totally natural and innate in our soul, this is our interior world that this is happening in. This is not something we control from the outside in. This is our true relational heart-to-heart connection with another spirit, another soul that is eternal, that lasts, okay, beyond the physical form, the body, any name that they had here on earth. This is soul-to-soul connection. And dogma or any religion that tells you that you shouldn't be talking to someone that's dead, in my mind, that just has no power over the truth of a heart-to-heart connection. Why in the world would you cut that off? You have no need to when that spirit is eternal. and sharing that same level of love and commitment to you. And his Father can absolutely be in his life, if not more, because it's not bound by time or locational limitations or other commitments in this life. It is beyond time now. And so every interaction, every decision that your friend may want to make, he can reach out through thought and a sincere heart to ask his Father, what's your opinion on this? What would you advise me to do? What do you think of this person? How do you feel like I'm doing as a father? And the answers come back wholeheartedly with no sense of restriction or limitation. So you can absolutely work through relationships. You can have healing in relationships that were difficult for you on earth, that were difficult for a person who passed, who had a lot of turmoil maybe in their life, or had an extremely hard life and had a coarse response to others or to you, or was abusive. And then when they transition, you can seek that healing from them, communicating with not only their soul, but their higher self, that wisdom, to help bring about a restored relationship. This is the beauty and the grace of our eternal souls, that our lessons and our growth doesn't stop from the physical realm. It goes deeper when we are exposed to things that are beyond the physical, beyond just the 3D dimensional aspect of our lives. So my advice there would be that he reach out with a sincere heart to continue that relationship. The last thing I want to speak to is kind of like why you feel them so strongly. That's clairsentience, the feeling, the weight that you feel of a presence that's near you. It's a psychic gift of being able to pick up on non-physical energy when it's present. And I do feel like when people transition, they move from the physical realm into the non-physical realm, and there's a time period for us when we're still on earth. It feels like a time period. Now remember, they're beyond time or outside of time. So they're not experiencing it in the same linear fashion that we are. But here, as I'm explaining it to you in a very linear manner, and you're receiving it or perceiving it in a linear manner, it's going to seem like that spirit is with those that were very much a part of their life, family members that were a part of their life, if they were very involved in work or the church or whatever activities they were really consumed with here on earth. Their presence is still consumed with that when they first transition. And so oftentimes you can really feel them close, talking with spirit, being involved, talking with individuals here from the spirit to us. Being very involved in funeral arrangements, being very involved in the friends and family, and essentially anyone that is thinking of them, they are calling forth that energy and bringing it near. And because they are not bound by one location, they can be with all people that are thinking of them in that omniscient way. So the presence is very overwhelming oftentimes, especially because more people are thinking of them at that time. More people are asking and requesting their energy. And that individual, having just left, still feels very connected, and its soul is very incorporated energetically in a lot of things. And so it hasn't fully moved all of its energy into the non-physical. So a lot of its energy is still present in the activities that it was involved in while on this earth. So as time goes on, you start feeling like the energy gets more and more moved to the non-physical. It doesn't mean that you cannot connect with that individual, because we are eternal, like I said a moment ago. But the amount of density of that energy, like the clairsentience, being able to feel their energy in that energetic presence, seems after a while to more come and go instead of being permeated around all of those when they first transition. Because they become more involved in their non-physical jobs and their non-physical interests that are beyond just this earth. And there is a lot of interactive energy there in the other realms and planetary spheres that our spirits go to as well. So when they first pass, it's definitely more present where you are now because a lot of their energy is still here. So that is very accurate as well. I hope this blesses you and blesses your friend. And my heart is with you and your friend during this time of transition. I hope it's a beautiful time. And just pray that all loved ones are near in support and care and honest connection. It's such a gift in this life to have those around us that love and support us. And they come out in waves around the death of a loved one. Okay, I'm going to sign off here for today. I'll be back next week with another video. Blessings, you guys.